Well, hello again. Caveman with 123 Caveman on eBay as far as finding me and such. Anyway, today a couple real simple ones, but something to at least take note of. A lot of people are taking and buying these rare earth magnets to take and replace the flat ones that they have on there, the black ones if you want to call it that, which they do the job depending on the racer. A lot of people don't even want the magnets on at all because they're using them for drag racing. Not to take and try to pull the car down and slow it down on the top end, I guess, which I don't blame them. But also, the other reason that I'm making this video is not that you, as the user, cannot take and remove the magnet, but some of them are a pain in the tail. And also, if you're not careful, you'll stab yourself right in the hand with a screwdriver or whatever item that you're using to pry it up with. Some of you kind of already know what I mean. So, and hopefully, you know, you don't. But there are some ladies, even some grandmothers, that are talking to me about taking and wanting to upgrade their grandsons or their granddaughters' tracks. So what do we need to do? We need to at least walk through it, just kind of let people know what to do, even though it is pretty simple. And, you know, that way it's just all good. Anyway, all right, the car here, you can use this here, Artin car, all right? And, you know, you can take and get a screwdriver that's similar to this in size, right, and try to get it up onto here. But the thickness here of the blade is just a little thick. Now, will it work? Sure, but you really got to put some force in there and kind of weasel it, if you will, back and forth under there to take and get to it, to take and get it to pop up. Now, the moment that it pops up, that doesn't automatically mean it just kind of bounces off there. I think these people, they actually used an epoxy type glue. I guess it leaves it on there forever, but it also makes it a pain in the tail to come off. Now, I've had some, and I'm going to use this little teeny screwdriver, right? Much smaller, right? But see how little and thin the head is? Okay, it's almost close to the thinness of a knife. It's not much of a screwdriver right now. So if you're doing this and you're prying back and forth, and this one always does work, the one thing you got to be careful of is when it gives, you know, you don't want this thing to come over here and stab you. All right, I've done it, and it's like, ow. So something to keep in mind, especially if you're a little concerned with it, and you got one that's driving you up the wall, trying to get it off, and you're just trying not to tear it up, and you don't want to throw it against the wall. You just want to get it done. Put some gloves on. I mean, hey, you know what? Well, these are some ugly old work gloves I have. But if you do and you miss, you know, chances are it might poke the glove, but it's not going to take and go under your skin. So let's take and pry this back and forth. In fact, I got to put it in the right place. Right up under the magnet. Now, you got one side starting to lift, and come to the other side and start to do the same thing. Now, in this case, it came off pretty decent. Now, let me get this glove off here. That's where it was glued on. Okay, of course, if you ever wanted to put it back, just put it back in the same location. It'll pop in there. And nice thing is, because it is a magnet, it'll hold it in place until the glue dries. The magnet can be stored, you know, if you want to take and do that. You can, I mean, it is a magnet, slot car magnet, designed for that slot car. So, you know, you may take and use it for something else. Anyway, so right now we got this vacant spot. All right, you can put just about any kind of magnet you want on there, okay? The key here, at least for the Artin cars, there's a little ledge right here. And this ledge will kind of give you a baseline of the magnet that you can put on there. Now, I have 6 of those rare earth magnets just stacked up on there, right? But as you can see, it would just take, it would take the tires right off the track. Plus, it would short your track out because it's going on the track itself. And what I found that 2 of them, if you will, pancaked, in other words, one on top of the other, can be placed right there. Okay, and that, as you can see, is pretty much right there level with this lip. Okay, now that is just the indicator. You can take and use just about any 2mm will take and go on there. You can get bigger ones, but remember, the more magnets you put on there, the slower the car goes. But also, if you put a lot of magnets on there because you want it to try to go ballistic, that downforce that those magnets will take and create will not just hold the car down to the track, but it'll take and put a major stress on the motor, even though it's just a little slot car motor. And normally the Artin cars will take and run and run and run and run, but if you overdo the magnets, it'll actually burn up that little motor. It's just not designed to take and pull that kind of force being pulled down on it, and it will slow down the car. If you're drag racing and the other guys are always beating you, this and that, you might take and try taking the magnet off. I've been told that by many. Anyway, and some people will say, hey, you know, what kind of glue? Well, regular old model glue will not work. And it does take and adhere to the plastic, but it doesn't adhere to the magnet itself. Now this here, if I remember right, they have this in Walmart. It was like $2.79 or something, but it's basically called quick grip contact cement. All right, and the older stuff used to take and be just called rubber cement, but it's pretty much the same thing. But it is not an epoxy. You can use epoxy, absolutely. Just make sure it's not too thick, because the more that magnet sticks up, the bigger the problem you're going to take and have with it maybe touching the track. So anyway, and it also doesn't take hardly any to take and hold it. Now, getting this cap off, I use this in here to take and replace magnets all the time, and it's spurting right out of there. Okay, we don't need nothing like that. So we're going to take and just put a dab. Let's see if I can do this right there. Okay, just enough to take and cover that. It does not have to be uniform. And we're going to take one magnet, one of the rare earth magnets, if I can take and get the thing to come apart, and we're going to take and just kind of lay it down in there. The nice thing is the rare earth magnet will take and go in there. Sometimes the magnet itself will want to take and pull to one side. You want to center that magnet, okay, to where it's just kind of in the center. You have the same amount of gap on both sides, but if you'll notice, it still wants to move around a little bit. But also what you'll find out, that this same exact glue, after it's been in place just for a few moments, it starts to take and stick and do its thing. Now, sometimes you get so much glue, a little excess will come off the back, and that's all fine and dandy. Just don't leave it there, even if you're only using one. But I have found on these cars, and these are only 1 millimeter thick as far as the magnets go, that it works best with two. Now, that's probably even too much there, but it'll give a perfect illustration of what you do when you take and have too much on there. And of course, the second one will take and just plop into place right on top of it. Now, if you carefully just push that down a little bit, you're trying to just make sure any of the excess kind of squirts out, if you want to call it that, comes out the sides. You can use something that's metallic. The best thing to take and use would take and be a piece of cardboard, or just a piece of paper that is folded up. And with that paper, you could just take and wipe it off, because it's not going to stick and move the magnet, because of course it's not metallic. Alright, and my suggestion is, you know, again, look at it one more time. Just make sure you got the same amount of gap, and ease it over just a teeny bit, and just let it set. Maybe a couple hours at the most. Probably 3 hours would be best. Overnight is fantastic, probably. Again, you can use any kind of glue, but I can tell you this, with the type of glue that I just used, if you wanted to take one magnet off or move a magnet, they're stuck on there, but it'll come off pretty easy as far as that goes. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, the other thing that I want to take and indicate is, a lot of you are buying the Power Passer cars, which, hey, thank you. But the thing is a Power Passer is not a standard slot car. Looks the same. It may, you know, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, gets a duck, right? Not necessarily with slot cars. The Power Passer is designed for a Power Passer track. Now, if you make the mistake of buying them, you know very well that I do not take returns. It's not that I'm trying to be a jerk about it. It's just, you know what, I need you to take and ask the question if you're not sure. So anyway, today what I want to take and show you is how exactly to take a Power Passer car that you by mistake purchased, and you just want the thing to work, and you don't want to just throw them in a corner and say, hey, you know, that really stinks, I can't do nothing. So it's pretty simple what you change, but let's just go over it real quick, and then I'll let you get back to your own businesses. So anyway, we've done the glue, and I've lost the cap somewhere. I'll have to find it after the fact. Oh, there it is, right in front of me. All right, no jokes with the glasses. Okay, Power Passer cars, they actually come as an A and a B car. Okay, these A and B cars, a lot of times, or always, will take and have a yellow guide pin or a red one. All right. Now, the yellow one, if you put onto a regular track, more than likely it will take and run correctly. Now, these here guide pins, okay, can still be used on a regular slot car track, so you can still use this after you get done. So just set it to the side, and then you just basically replace it back in there, just like you would any other time as far as taking it apart. But on the bottom here, you can actually slide into place the permanent type peg guide pin. All right, so you don't have to use the spring-loaded at all, and you can leave those out. One thing I'll take and tell you if you're drag racing the car, okay, is that guide pin is weighted, all right? And you guys don't want to add weight, so let's get them things out of there, all right? So that will take and make some difference. I mean, milliseconds maybe, but you know what? If you want to win, you want to win. Now, here's the thing. If you'll note, this here, the motor is upside down compared to the regular Artin slot cars, because these contacts have to be down normally to take and hit these contacts to where it will get power from the track. In this case, it's facing up. So, because of that, you have to cross over. In this case, this is an A car. Excuse me, an A car. And there is a wire coming from this side and goes down to here. No problem. But what you'll notice is a diode right here. Okay? Very similar, all right, as far as the other car, but there is a difference. You'll see it in just a moment. So, all right, we're not going to take and do major experiments and take and make it real pretty and all that, but we're going to snip this diode off. Move it over a little bit, snip it off. All right, it's out of the way, okay? Now, it can be any kind of wire, because what you don't have to have is you don't have a guide pin moving around in here and things like that, so the wire can just basically come across. And it doesn't have to be a special wire. I mean, if you could handle getting in there, you could use a wire as big as an extension cord if you wanted. It's not needed, of course, but I'm just saying any kind of wire will do. Now, I'm going to set this down. It's kind of much harder to take and show a person. Let's see if I can leave the car in one spot while I'm doing it. And, of course, I'm not doing nothing fancy. And those that have soldered know exactly what I'm getting ready to do, but the thing is, those that have not, maybe they've seen it, but they've really never done it. You know what? They're new to it. So that's why I do some of these videos. And also just the example of it, okay, this is what he's talking about. So in this case, I've got a couple wires that I actually took and cut, all right, and already tinned the ends. And tinning the end, if someone says that, just means to take and flow a little solder on there. So when you go to take and put it on the car, it's basically going to stick a little quicker, and you're not having to overheat whatever you're taking and connecting it to. So that's the only reason that happens. Does it have to be tinned? Not necessarily. So I'm using a Weller soldering gun, all right, but the stick types that you take and get at Walmart or Kmart, simple soldering irons will absolutely do the same thing. Okay, so you don't have to go and buy something expensive. Radio Shack will take and sell you, solder. All right, it comes on a roll. Sometimes it comes in a very small tube if you're not going to use it that often. So back to the car. All right, so I'm going to take and heat this up just a little bit. And we want to go from here to here. Now, because it's better to look down holding this to the side, I would suggest doing this one first. Just heat up that solder a little bit. A lot of people blow on it, but just hold it steady until it looks like it cooled off just a little bit. Doesn't take any kind of time to do that. Now, I want to turn the car just a little bit, because now, you have to take and do the top end. All right. Now, I'm going to put just a teeny bit of solder on this and lay the wire up there. Let's see, am I doing it right? Yeah. Lay the wire up there and just lightly let it heat and let off again. Just a moment or two. let go. Now it still may be warm, you know. That's not necessarily the way to test it, but give it a few seconds before you touch it, because if you touch it right away, it's hot. So anyway, the end result is what you wanted to do is cross those two wires. This car right now is a standard Artin slot car. The only difference is it has this capacitor and the motor's turned upside down. That is it. Nothing else is different. Your brushes and such, brads, will take and can be replaced. They are exactly the same. The pinion gear and your crown, they're actually absolutely the same. Okay, so that's what has to happen, which is pretty simple, to a Power Passer car. If you accidentally buy it and you got it home and you found out, oh geez, I should have asked what's a Power Passer. So anyway, that one's that one. Now the difference between that car and this one here is, if you'll notice, that wire doesn't go across. It comes down, it's looped under there a little bit, but it goes straight down basically, and so does this diode. Alright, well, this is the car that will give you problems, and you'll put it on your track and you'll set it down and say it doesn't move at all. He sold me cars that don't work. Well, take that same car, pick it up, turn it around, let it down on the track, and then it'll start to take and want to move and stuff. But you need to get rid of this diode. Okay, so basically, in this case, we'd unsolder from here, move it over here, cut this diode off, and cross it over. Just like the other car. The only difference is, it's not just one side you have to move, it's both sides. Folks, that's all it takes really, and I hope this video helps out a few people as far as that goes. You know, ask the question anytime you have one. Not that I'm an expert, because I am not, folks. I'm just a guy that takes and sells slot cars on eBay, and helps you when I can. Thanks for watching. See you next time.